whenever we say your name, it's always linked to Khabib.
It's part of the game, whether I like it or not. I'm not known for all my other champions. I have many champions, but I'm known for him. I'm known for him.
There is a fight happening in the White House.
Yes.
I think we should do a fight here at the White House. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House.
Everyone is asking, like, would Khabib come back or do a fight?
But you never 100% know. I would say it's a 90%. I'm telling you this, he must all of a sudden tell you, no, he's fighting and he already made a deal with Dana. And I'm not saying he is doing any of that. I'm just saying it could.
Yeah,
and it's possible.
Yo, Mark 9. They really don't think we can keep doing this.
قبل ما نبلش حابب اشكركم كتير على دعمكم الدايم. اشتراككم بالقناة بيعني لي كتير وهو اللي بيخلينا نستمر لنقدر نقدم محتوى بليق فيكم. فشكرا. Javier.
Yes.
Hey man. We met in Dubai on the street and you've been spending a lot of time in Dubai.
Yes, I've been here quite a bit.
Yeah. How's things?
Things are great.
Amazing.
Just loving Dubai, and even though it's hot, I'm always inside, so it doesn't really matter. I don't mind the weather. It's so beautiful here that the weather means nothing for me as long as I'm inside.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I mean, it's well designed. Also, even in the hot season, it's still good. But you've been also here because I feel like this culture that it's here, it becomes also like you're liking it. Like I can feel from the fighters probably, or how you.
No, it's the fighters. They're good everywhere, but for me, the locals here, and even the people that live here now, they're so great that you feel like home. I have so many brothers here that I met. Now, normally, I was not used to saying brothers. I'm used to saying friends, but here it's different. It's brothers. So I have quite a few. I have more here in the short period of time than I ever had in the US of A. And they're more sincere here. They're more, they have more integrity and they're more honest and more humble. I love that, and I do have some very good, close, dear friends of mine in the US of A, but I have more here in a short period of time.
Yeah, and they have this amazing hospitality as well.
Amazing hospitality.
Yeah.
Just, I haven't met... I've been here about 6 years, and I've only met one person that was not a good person.
Oh, really?
In 6 years, one person. That's it. I'll think about that. He wasn't from here, from another country.
Yeah.
I only met one person. Everybody else has been fantastic.
Fantastic and beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I lived my life here and the same feeling. And everybody who comes here says the same thing, Yeah. But it's like the relation with the Dagestani fighters that, of course, Khabib at the beginning, he's kind of like introduced you to this culture because Abu Dhabi loves fighting and they attracted the especially like the fighters from Russia, Dagestan, and the Muslim culture is like they attracted them, and then now everybody is like looking at this area from that perspective.
Yes, had it not been for Khabib, I would have never been introduced to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, all these beautiful Emirates. If had not been that I was Khabib's coach, this enabled me to come to this beautiful country and enjoy the culture and the beautiful brothers that I made and sisters.
Yes, and how when you look at it, it's like you see like how Khabib has been a great ambassador to all this area, all this culture for his country first. Let's say for Russia, Dagestan, and then for this region. It's kind of he was like the eye opener.
He was the eye opener, but if you really listen to him and you see his interviews, he's the eye opener for the world. He's the first MMA, power athlete that has actually contributed to the world and given out good messages for the world, for world peace, et cetera, et cetera. He's been doing things that no other MMA fighter has done, like when we were talking about Russia and Ireland. He said, we love Ireland. You support, Palestine, and we see the same. We're with you with Ireland. We're with you, Ireland. So he's done that with many other different countries. He's talked about goodwill towards people, and it's all about humanitarian, and that's what Khabib's father was. He was an exceptional humanitarian, a beautiful man, one of the greatest coaches I ever met, and it just transferred over to his son.
Yes, of course. I mean, his father is like, he was doing it for his city or for his village. He was doing it for the kids. That was his purpose from the beginning, and
to give them purpose. To give them purpose to get them to do something with their lives. And his father taught them to stay work diligently, hard work, don't play around, be strict on business, and business for them was work. At that particular time, he taught them a lot of different traits, how to become a better man, how to become a provider for your family. And when they made money, he showed them the way. His father paved the way for a lot of what's going on now. And Khabib is just taking over his father's footsteps, where he shows them the ways for them to better their lives and their families, and to help others. And that's what they've been about from their father. And that's why a lot of times, I say father's plan, because his father, I want him to always be remembered. So father's plan for me is always a big part of what I've always done.
But why they are so attached to the wrestling in their culture? We know that like even any other country, they are so into sports like gymnastic or boxing or any, but that country feel like it's in the DNA of their...
It's basically in the activity, right? It's basically who teaches what. So you got to understand how it works. Is the reason why wrestling is so big is because they've been successful with it. So when you're successful with it, you have a lot of kids coming out and playing the wrestling, and when they're young. But now, since Khabib came into the picture and MMA became big, MMA is taking over in Dagestan. It's the number one sport now. It's not football. It's not wrestling. It's MMA, and it's all due to the influence of Khabib and his father, what they started. And why it started at the beginning as wrestling, because Khabib's father was not a striker. Khabib's father was a judo and a pancrase and sambo expert. So he did what he knew. So he taught his boys how to do sambo, great sambo, and great judo, and so they used it to perform in mixed martial arts. And someone like myself comes into the picture, and I added a different element of striking, different value of how I see things. And from that point, that they were able to adapt and bring in great coaches. They have some unbelievable coaches that they have at Makhachev gym and Abdulmanap gym, and they brought them all in. It's all based on what the world was doing, and they just brought it to their place to teach. So it's kind of like one of those situations where they had what they had was very powerful. They brought in from everybody else. Now I think it's the number one gym in the world at the present time. They're producing the most champions, and I think they will continue to do that for a long time. Because when you go down to Dagestan and you see the Abdulmanap gym and you see the training where they have just nothing but kids, you look at these kids and they're so focused, they're so strict, and they're just hungry. They're very, very hungry. And when you have that kind of hunger, you have that kind of strictness and the discipline that they possess there, and the great coaching, you're going to develop great fighters.
100%. And when they have a reference that they saw that succeeded, and which is Khabib, and he showed them the way. I mean, this is the result of why we are working, because like they have it as a culture, but they haven't seen the huge success that has been done. But with Khabib, they can see the path and the results of it.
Yeah, they see the path, the results, and Khabib's also led the path for Islam. His father, his father had always said that Islam was going to be next, and sure enough, there's Islam. And then so it's Islam, and then basically it's Umar, who were going to get back on track to get one more win, two more wins hopefully, and then the UFC will bless us with another title shot. And then Usman, his younger brother, who's the PFL champion, who's undefeated. I mean, so it's people like them that carry the legacy. And then we have many other fighters like Aji, who's the PFL champion, Mobley, who's a PFL champion, and many other ones. And one of our other ones that was the featherweight PFL champion, unfortunately he got shot. He didn't die, but he got shot in the back just recently, which was very tragic.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, and sometimes people are bad people.
Yeah. Javier, whenever we say your name, it's always linked to Khabib. Yani I know, like, every time you have an interview, everyone want to ask you about Khabib. How do you feel about that?
You know, it's like this. I told Khabib back in 2017, before he was a champion, he was doing a lot of interviews, and a lot of the interviews were coming to him. He was getting really tired, and I said to him, I said, so what's going on? He goes, oh, coach, I'm just tired. So many interviews. Oh. And I go, do you want it to go away? He goes, yes, coach, I want it to go away. I go, well, it's so simple. Just go out and lose, because then no one will want you.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
He said, oh, okay, I understand. From that point, he never has an issue with it. And for me, it's the same thing. If I wanted to have no recognition, if I didn't want to be acknowledged as a coach, then why did I help create him? Why didn't I just stop?
Yes.
So I have to accept that what's happened to him is trickle down to myself. So I keep myself humble also, because I never refuse an interview. I never refuse, a photo shoot. Only times would be if unfortunately I can't make it. But other than that, I've never refused anything. I've always go ahead and do it, because it's what you signed up for when you decided to be a coach.
Yes,
so
it's part of the game.
Part of the game. So associated with him, it's part of the game, whether I like it or not. I'm not known for all my other champions. I have many champions, but I'm known for him. I'm known for him. But that's something I have to accept, and I do accept. And if I'm going to be linked to anybody of all my champions, he's the one I want to be linked to.
Of course. What is what's the secret of Khabib? We know that the discipline. We know that his aggressiveness, his hardness, his hard worker. But there is a secret about Khabib that we don't know. Is it his relation with his father?
It was what his father brought to the table with him, 100%. It was his father's relationship with him that made him who he is, because his father, raised him as a child and gave him all the mental attributes that he needed. And his father was open-minded enough to let Khabib come train with me. Since 2012, Khabib has trained with me for every single fight since 2012 that he's had, until he retired 2020. So he was with me every single one of those fights, not with his father, with me. His father would be at home, and Khabib would be speaking to his father on a daily basis, but he was training with me. So it's that discipline that his father instilled in him, and the wisdom that his father instilled in him, that made him come to the place he felt the best in training. Since all the fights were in the U.S., it was logical sense that you would come to the U.S. and do the training, not stay in Dagestan. So that's why his father allowed him to go. But you got to understand, as a coach, as great of a coach as his father was, for him to be able to release his number one prize student to come train with me, it takes a lot of passion, love, and understanding as a coach. And that's how great of a coach he was, that he was secure with who he was. He was secure knowing that who I was and who I would never try to take over his father's position, because it was never mine to take over. I was there to fit a role. I fit my role, and I'm still in that position where I'm the head coach for the team, but I'm not really the head coach. The leader is Khabib. Khabib's the leader.
Okay.
They call me the head coach, but Khabib's the leader.
But honestly, Javier, that's your secret, because also you don't change people into a different direction. You see what they have and improve it and do it better. And
correct.
We can see that, and even when you talk to them, you really don't do things that against their DNA. You just empower that in a way.
I don't change them. I improve on what they have, and I work with them on the attributes that they have, and I'm point out the things that they might want to add to make them stronger, and that's my gift. That's what I've always done, and that's what I'm continuing to doing. The rest of my life I'm going to be in that position where I will be in that, just adding my value. But I have only 3 people at the present time I'm responsible for, and that's Islam, who's the lightweight UFC champion, and Umar, who's basically the bantamweight number 2 or number 3 contender, and then Usman, who's the PFL champion. Those are the 3 that presently I'm responsible for. There's many more fighters, even at AKA. I have a big gym at AKA that we have big responsibility there, with a lot of up-and-coming fighters, with Ron Kessler's the head coach. My son, Javier Mendez, is the assistant coach to him, and they're both of them are running the program, and they're doing an unbelievable job of bringing up the new crop of AKA fighters. So it's really AKA and Abdulmanap together. We're together, so it's this one and the same.
All right. I mean, speaking of Islam, he have moved with one weight up, yeah. So he's in welterweight now.
Correct.
And he has a big challenge coming up with Jack Delamin, if I'm reading it right, JDM.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about this fight? Do you feel it's gonna be a tougher fight for him?
It's going to be a super tough fight for us. We have to plan this correctly because Jack's bigger. You know, he's a bigger guy. He's used to that weight, number one. Number two, he's well-rounded. He's good on the ground. He's good on the stand-up. He basically has good game plans. He comes in with a great game plan. He's got a great team behind him, you know, and he punches really well. Good boxing, good kicking, good kneeing, good takedown defense, good jiu-jitsu, you know, good scrambles. He's good everywhere. Can take a good shot. This guy's a test for us. He's not an easy fight. And I always tell people, look, listen, if we prepare properly and we make this an easy fight, it's not because he was an easy opponent. It's because we prepared properly and we were fortunate enough to expose what we could and gain that position. But it could turn out to be a disaster fight also. This is one of those fights that, you know, we can't be overconfident, think we had this. No way. This is one of those real tough fights. And, you know, Islam should prevail in my heart. I feel he should prevail when he prevails, but it was not going to be an easy deal done. It's not going to be like, oh, it was easy. No. Very hard to figure the puzzle with Jack, and it's going to be up to Islam to be able to go out there and expose the deal of where Jack is open and where he's not open. Then we maybe create an opening. But, that's what we're faced with, a tough challenge, tough challenge.
Because when we watch Islam, we all think, "Khalas, it's 100% Islam." Like in back of our head is like he's gonna win. When we watch him, because this is what we are used to from him. But what about in his mind? And did he change that after Volkanovski, after when he fight Poirier? I mean, both fights were very tough for him.
He basically hasn't changed. He basically listens to what we say, and at times, you know, as a fighter, you get stuck in a certain mode. Like, for instance, with Dustin's last fight, the first round was easy. It was picture perfect. It was exactly what we wanted. The second round didn't turn out to be that way. It was a lot tougher. He didn't stick to the game plan of taking the guy down, even though that's what he should have done. But, you know, we were okay with him doing the stand-up because he was winning that too. So even though he didn't go back to taking him to the ground, the stand-up is where he chose to go because it was easier for him at that particular time in his mind. In my mind, going back to what he did in the first round was the best thing. But regardless, you know, he's so good, he can change how he needs to change. But we didn't see any need to change since he was winning, you know, so we were okay with that. And his mind has always been the same. The only thing that was a difference for us is when we fought in Australia the very first time with Alex Volkanovski, he basically
underestimated.
No underestimation, nothing. If you watch the fight, you only notice it was in the fifth round where we hit the wall.
Yeah.
And that's where Alex did great. But up to that point, no. Basically what it was is the weight cut. Okay. We had 12 hours less to rehydrate. So that actually cost us, and I'll give you a reason why. When we went into that fight, Islam weighed less than Alex. Alex weighed more than we did in that fight. Okay?
It was a very hard weight cut.
So it was very hard weight cut. We didn't have enough time to recover because in the good old US of A and every other country, we managed to get like 36 hours total rehydration time. This was only a 12 hours, so he was 7 pounds less than what he was. Okay, so after that fight, that everybody was talking about, oh, there's a this, there's a that, but no, it was only due to that. So the second fight, you know, we went into the fight, and this time around, come fight night, Islam was 7 pounds heavier the second fight than he was the first fight. So I knew we have a much stronger Islam. So as a result of that, you saw what happened.
Yes,
you know? So,
and that's why he hushed everyone is like,
I want everybody. Yeah,
I want you to know who I am.
Who I am. Yeah, and the thing is that technique. That he hit him with the body head kick. That was done with him and Magomed, the coach, the striking coach Magomed. He has said to me, Coach, what do you think about this? And they were working it in the back room. He said, we're going to go low, and then we're going to go head high. I said, that's perfect. Yes. So that technique that was worked on was through Magomed, the head coach for Abdulmanap and Makhachev in Dagestan. So he's the one that devised that for.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And then whenever, so it wasn't like wrestling. It wasn't a takedown. So how do they feel, especially Islam, and how do, like when you said like the second fight with Poirier, the second round, he was on stand up. Do they feel like their ego, or they want to prove themselves like I'm all-rounded
yes,
fighter?
of course. All fighters want to prove they're well-rounded. Khabib too. Even when he did things, when he dropped Conor, and he stood with Conor the whole third round because he wanted to prove he can stand with him. So yes, no, all fighters want to prove they can do everything. Of course they do. But for me as their coach,
You want to keep them
I want
on
to keep them on track. But sometimes, like for instance with Conor and Khabib in the third round, I let Khabib do that, but I really didn't want that. I was more or less
How
telling
did you
him
feel?
to take him down.
I
take
mean,
him down,
he had
yeah.
a risk doing that.
He just wanted to do that. He wanted to do that. But I didn't like that because I know his father's watching. His father's realizing, Coach, you better get it back on track. So, of course, I did. I said, hey, now that you got that out of the way, let's go back to father's plan, which is take him down. And at that time, it wasn't father's plan because, his father was alive. So it's only when his father passed away that I called it father's plan. But basically what I say father's plan is his father was a visionary. His father was a great coach, and his father would always look at the like the chair, right? You see the chair and you see where the cracks in the chair are, whereas if you press on this, that's where the chair is going to crumble. That's what the ability of his father was. He was able to look at somebody and go, okay, he's weak in this area, so this is where we want to attack. And that's what I've always done my whole life also. So that's why him and we seen eye to eye. We never discuss strategies or plans, never. We never discussed it. I never spoke to him about how do we go with Khabib, nothing, because I knew what I was doing. He knew what he was doing. And all we needed to do was convey the same message to Khabib, because the majority of the time I would tell Khabib, I watched the film on so-and-so and we need to do this. And he goes, yes, coach, I know. I go, Khabib, how do you know? I'm just telling you this right now. He goes, I know. Father say the same thing last night. This happened quite a few times. This is not a one-time thing. This was a numerous times where father say the same thing, father say the same thing. And that's why his father was very comfortable with me, because I wasn't trying to take over that position of who the head coach was with Khabib. It was his father. I was just putting in my 2 cents where I needed to, fit in. And that's why it worked.
If I want to ask you, which was the toughest fight for Khabib? Which opponent?
The toughest fight for Khabib, as far as an opponent, obviously for me, the toughest fight.
I mean, they looked easy. I know it's hard to find one. Poirier, maybe.
I'm gonna go Michael Johnson,
Michael
only because
Johnson.
he didn't listen.
Man,
he didn't listen, and so he gave Michael Johnson an opportunity to potentially get us. So that fight.
He molded him, man.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It wasn't a tough fight for him, but for me it was a tough fight because he risked, potentially getting outstruck,
Exactly,
so
in the first round.
Yeah, that's why it was tough for me. I was yelling at him, wrestling. I used to say Cain style or DC style. Cain style is going to the outside and attacking. DC wrestling style is in the inside. So I would say things like that. But he wasn't listening because he like you said, fighters, do they want to prove? I go, that was a perfect example of him wanting to prove he can strike. But Michael was a better striker than us, so I didn't want him to do that. I didn't want him to do that. But now at the very end, Habib's striking got very, very good, but not at that particular time. So yes, that's why we don't want fighters to do that, because of that reason.
And with Poirier, was it that dangerous when he had the guillotine on the floor?
No, believe it or not, in the back room, he was working out with Islam, and he put himself in that position a lot because they kind of knew that Habib's very tough to choke, and he would blow his arms out. So it kind of was like if he got us there, no big deal. So it was no big deal. Even when it happened, his father and I, that was the only corner I've ever worked with his father. And we kind of were looking, and we looked at each other like this, and we're just like laughing because we knew what was going to happen.
No way.
Yeah. So if someone ever catches that on video, which I'm sure they did, I think they did catch it, but I've never seen it. I seen it one time.
I'll search
where
for it.
The father and I just looked at each other like that and just go back to telling him what to do.
And Khabib, he said, I will never tap in front of my father.
No. I've never seen him tap ever anyways. And I asked him one time, I go, Khabib, have you ever tapped? He goes, no, coach. And I'm like, I've never seen him tap.
Yeah,
maybe
he
he's never
preferred to
tapped.
sleep and never tap.
Maybe he preferred to sleep, but I've never seen him tap. So he's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the only guy. out of everybody I've ever had that I thought could have won 3 titles. I thought he could have won the lightweight, the welterweight, and the middleweight title. I don't know about light heavy, but because he manhandles people. Even still to this day, he handles.
Is he still training?
Oh yeah, he trains all the time, grappling. He doesn't spar with people, but he grapples with everybody and just destroys everybody.
Okay. But he retired early, don't you think so? Like,
he retired
we
too
all
early.
wanted him to stay. I mean, it was perfect. Nobody had that perfect. 29-0. We wanted that 30, and I think this was his father's wish.
No, his father's wish was not to retire this early. That was his mother, and he didn't want to fight without his father. His mother didn't want him to fight without their father, without his father there. So I was not involved in that. That's a family thing, and for me, I didn't know anything about it. It was a shock to me, as was everybody else that heard. I was like, oh, he's retiring.
He never told anybody.
He might have told some people, but he didn't tell me.
Okay.
He didn't tell me. So that was the way it was. And that was okay because that was a family thing. That wasn't a coach thing, in my opinion. This was between him and his family. And I still to this day respect that.
But it was at his prime, and it was at his, best... also
pound for pound number one.
And getting known and maybe if that's why what shows me that he doesn't care for money, he doesn't care for fame, he doesn't care about that.
Okay, we all care about money, we all care about fame, but he had enough money, he had enough fame, and what he cared more about was his mother's feelings and his more than that. So we all do care about money. If we say we don't, that's baloney. We all do. We need money to survive. We need fame, a legacy to leave behind, because that gives us pride for what we've accomplished. But how much is enough? Well, he had enough that he could, the rest of his life, he can work his mind like his father taught him and go and do business and make it grow. You don't have to fight to make businesses grow. And Khabib knows that. So Khabib has developed many businesses. I don't know what they all are. I don't really care to know all his businesses, but he has businesses, and they're successful, and he will continue to have that because he's got the right mind. And he also has a charity organization that he donates to. So a lot of people don't realize it, but he does that also. So, obviously you can't go to everybody that comes to you and go in the wallet, but if you have one particular organization you donate to, and that's what you'll be all the time.
Of course. But how would have been so nice to have a refight with Conor? What do you think? And I'm sure, talking about money, he would definitely. Dana White was offering him like a lot of money for that, isn't it?
I know there was a lot of money on the table. There was a big money fight with Floyd Mayweather also that was thrown around. And
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather. Boxing. Yeah.
But he would do it?
He was thinking about it.
Without wrestling?
No wrestling, just boxing. His boxing.
Because I remember he said, I just give me one round of wrestling and take all the rounds in boxing.
No. But he was offered a potential match with Floyd Mayweather, and he turned it down. And I don't know if Floyd would have accepted or, or Floyd even knew about it. I just know Khabib turned it down. So I don't even know if it went back to Floyd's corner. Hey, they were thinking about that, et cetera, et cetera. I just know Khabib turned it down.
And he retired. His last fight was with
2020 Justin Gaethje. Yeah, it was the worst training camp we've ever had in my whole entire life.
And he broke his toe. He come in training. He had mumps. He had the mask on, and I'm like, you have COVID? He goes, no, coach. He takes it off. He's got a big old jaw here. Okay.
I'm like, oh my God. So I'm thinking we're in trouble. Hopefully you'll get in time. So, spent the first week more or less not really training. And then I started training again. And then he got reinfected. He got the mumps again. And I'm getting really worried. And I'm like saying, Khabib, maybe we should cancel the fight, schedule it for another time. He said, no, coach, give me till this time. If this is meant to be, we'll go ahead and cancel it, but give me till this amount of time. I said, okay. Came to that time. He looked fantastic. Said, okay, we're good to go. And then the last one for me was when he broke his toe, and I'm like going, oh no, now we really have to cancel. And again, he's like, no. He goes, no, please, coach. If I can't perform by this amount of time, then we'll cancel. I said, okay. I said, all right. But I'm thinking he was wearing one shoe and sparring, you know, one
Oh
shoe.
my God, yeah.
So he's doing his sparring, but he's doing fantastic. He's doing unbelievable in sparring, on the stand-up, on the ground, everywhere. He was doing great. And then the one thing he said that made me so confident, the most confident I've ever been with him, the less nerves ever, is he says to me, Coach, he goes, my toe may be broken, but my mental is not. And when he said that, I said, I don't care no more. I don't care if he didn't even train the rest of that week. I didn't care at all because I knew we were going to win this fight no matter what. I went in so confident. I was like, normally there's a little bit of jitters. This one was like just like that. And from actually that point on up to every single fight, I don't get nervous anymore. And before that, it was a little bit of nerves because I was working on calming myself. But on that last fight, when he said my toe may be broken, but my mental is not, it was
and it was a perfect fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he won. He dominated the whole fight, and he took him down. I think it was the second round.
Yeah, and he decided to, rather than put the arm bar on him where he knew he wouldn't tap, so he didn't want to break his arm in front of his parents, he put it to a choke. So that would, that's what he did. So, yeah, because Justin is a warrior, you know, and he wasn't gonna tap.
So he made him sleep.
Yeah, made him sleep.
Just to
because he didn't want to do it
in front of his parents.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, if you look at Khabib's fights, okay, you'll see him in the background. He's pissed off at Dana White and them for giving him a phony contract, and he's beating up the guy, telling him, you know, you and I to talk, and Dana said, you got to focus on your fight there, and he's saying to Dana, don't worry about that. Just don't send me no more bullshit contracts.
Yes.
You know? So, you know, what about your boy, this and that? He's talking to him, and I'm trying to focus on him to stay focused on the fight. But obviously, I can't yell at him because his mind is...
It was with Michael Jordan.
Michael, his mind was set where he was wanting to be. And the bottom line is, I did what I needed to do, and I knew he was going to do what he was going to do. But he's known for that. He's known for doing those little things like that. That's just how good he was.
He was good, confident, and he was funny, to be honest. He's funny. He has a lot of sense of humor.
Extremely great humor, and especially with him and Daniel Cormier, DC, when those two guys get together, it's a comedy show. It's hilarious, and people don't really understand how funny those guys are until they're around them both, and you go, oh my God, these guys, you can watch them all day, those two. It's just crazy.
Yes. There is a fight happening in the White House.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of rumors. They said, okay, we want John Jones, or we want also Khabib. Was like, maybe everyone is asking, like, would Khabib come back or do a fight? And because like it's the White House and they want to make something so special, is that maybe can happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, by the time that thing happens, Khabib will be 37. He's always said 35 was the age, but you know, you never 100% know. I would say it's a 90%, 99% no.
99. No.
Yeah, but still, there's still 1%. I've never spoke to him about it, so it isn't like I know firsthand. He said no. I don't. I just know that my thought process is because he's older and his mind has always been set 35 you should retire. You know, I've even made a comment in regards to Islam going to retire probably after 3 more fights, and everybody hit the big one because like, what, the coach just said he's retired. I never spoke to Islam about retirement. I just said because the way they traditionally do it, it's like usually at 35 is usually time to go. Well, you know, we still have 3 fights to go. So Islam is 33, if I'm not mistaken, 33 going 34. So I figured 3 more fights, you know, because he gets 2 fights a year. So I figured he'd be 35 by then. Maybe and you never know. Islam might want to stay till he's 40. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with Khabib. I don't know because I didn't speak to them personally about it. So I can't say, yes, he spoke to me. He's not going to fight. I'm telling you this. He must all of a sudden tell you, no, he's fighting. He already made a deal with Dana. And I'm not saying he is doing any of that. I'm just saying it could.
Yeah.
And it is possible.
Okay, the fight between Islam and Topuria. I mean, everyone wants, like now, debating who's the pound for pound best fighter. And now Topuria is like a star now, rising, and he's great, you know, fast. Although his weight difference, there is a weight difference, and now Islam went to welterweight. Will he go back to what's the other weight? Is the before the
welterweight and lightweight. So
lightweight.
He's
He
going
will go
to
back to
welterweight. Lightweight. You know, this depends. I don't. You know, Islam. He knows for darn sure now that the best fight to make if he gets by Jack, the best fight in my opinion to make is Topuria.
Topuria. Yeah.
What weight? I don't know. I mean, it could be welterweight. It could be lightweight. But if we focus too much on Topuria, then we're losing sight of tough Jack, and we're not going to have nothing. So it's better to focus on Jack because he's the one that's in front of us, and I believe he's a tougher challenge for us. So we better stay focused on him and not sleep on him. Once we do that, it could go bad, just like Bilal Muhammad did. Bilal Muhammad had a game plan, and I'm sure it was to take him down, etc., etc. But what did Bilal do? He got caught standing with the guy, and even though he was competitive, and maybe it was made those rounds very close, he still was losing. So he didn't follow the game plan. So we have to stay focused on what we need to do with Jack. So if we focus on Ili, you know, which could be bad for us. So I'd rather, you know, when that fight happens, let it happen. But we have to win in order for that to happen. So let's focus on the winning Jack first.
Yeah, and what I see like three competitors for Islam is like Topuria, what's the Armenian guy?
Armen
Sarukian.
Yeah, Sarukian. Yeah.
And who's the toughest fighter? Like I feel like Armen Sarukian is like really close to his style of Islam. And
I don't know who would be the tougher one, but then again, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. Islam may like staying at welterweight. So if Armen gets the opportunity to go 170 and they give it to him, okay. If Topuria does, okay. So let's see what happens with them. But the tougher of those two, I don't know who it would be. Stylistically, they're different. You know, I know what I feel that for Topuria, I think that Armen poses the biggest threat to him. You know, out of all the lightweights, it's Armen. But I think Armen, based on him missing that opportunity to fight Islam, I think the UFC, you know, this is what they traditionally do. They make you fight one more fight, regardless of what happens. So Armen needs to fight one more fight against somebody, and they're not going to give him a title fight. I don't believe they are, unless they got put in a situation where now that somebody all the other guys pulls out, then they need Armen, then they'll let him do that. But if they're going to pick someone to fight for a title, Armen's not going to get that shot. If you've been following it, I've been seeing a lot where I'm actually saying Armen deserves this, Armen deserves that, but he's not getting the title shot. Somebody else is getting them. So now I'm under the basically idea that they're not going to give him a title shot unless he fights somebody first, unless second circumstances happen like what you're alluding to. If that happens, then maybe he'll get a title shot. So if I was Armen, forget that. I would fight. Give me whoever. I'm gonna destroy them. I'm gonna prove to you that I belong in that title contention, and I want the next title shot. That's what I would do, based on what's going on.
So now who's next for Topuria? Is it the British guy? What's his name?
I think Paddy, right?
Paddy,
I think he
Paddy.
makes sense. He makes sense. That makes a perfect
because they
sense
hate
of a fight.
each other.
Yeah. That's a good fight. That's a good fight to make, and I'm excited to see that fight. That's gonna be a big event because Paddy's really, really big in the UK, and you know Topuria has made himself a huge name. Now he's a superstar. You know, Topuria is a superstar. He's done it, and he's deserving of that recognition. And he says the right things. He doesn't really talk too bad about fighters per se, just how confident he can whoop them and stuff like that, which is not a big deal, you know, but he doesn't really, never talks about family, never talks about, you know, girlfriends, or he just talks about generally just a fighter himself, you know, and I like what he does. I'm a fan of his, but obviously, you know, we want to fight him also at some point, you know. We're expecting that hopefully we get by Jack, and, you know, then the UFC decides this is the match they want, then, you know, that's the match I think needs to happen also. But again, we got to focus on Jack.
Great. Khamzat Chimaev. Do you meet Khamzat Chimaev? I mean, he's from he's not from Dagestan.
No, it's Chechnya.
Yeah, but I mean, the same style of wrestling and the toughness, and we all feel.
I think he grew up more not in Chechnya. I think he grew up in
Switzerland,
Sweden. Yeah. And because he was an all-star team over there with Alex the Mauler. So he was with their team over there. Because Ili Latifi, who's a good brother of mine, he was there with them all there. So he told me that Topuria was over there, Khamzat was over there. So all these guys were all together. And Khamzat, from everybody I've ever heard, that's trained with him, and me visually, I've seen him firsthand. I've seen him in the PI, Las Vegas PI, and I watched him train. I was very, very impressed with him, and I've met him 3 or 4 times, and very nice. I really like him, and I've thought that he was going to be the champ, and I still hold to that. I believe he's going to be the champ, and we'll come see when he fights Triple D, but I believe he's going to pull it off.
Yeah, he still have a clean record, and
yeah, he's 16-0 or 17-0, right? Yeah, so he's undefeated, and what he did to Robert Whittaker was no joke. He just no joke. And Robert Whittaker is top dog, So what he did to Robert was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, everyone saw that this is the next Khabib. I don't know.
Well, I would say the next
I'm
Hamzat.
sure.
I would say the next Hamzat, because for me, it's like I don't look at anybody as the next Khabib because everybody's different. He's Hamzat, Islam is not Khabib. He's Islam,
No, I'm talking about Hamzat. Yeah, Hamzat is the next Khabib, but it's not. Huh?
No, they're not. They're different because how many of those guys speak out on the world peace, and how many of them do what Khabib does?
So this is what you see Khabib.
That's what I see.
Okay.
This is the thing about Khabib. It is not what he does inside the cage that's important. It's what he does outside. How many of these fighters that you know of, think about it. I want you to think about it. Who does what for what? What fighter? Only one. Only one. Only one that speaks out for people, other than Bilal Muhammad, who speaks out for Palestine. But Khabib is not just speaking out for Palestine. He speaks out for all people. He does for everybody.
And that he's a billionaire and going to economy class in an airplane. Remember that incident? What happened?
He's always been humble that way. What happened in the airline is, I believe, don't quote me on that because I don't want people blasting. But it was whatever airline it was. They asked him if he was able to assist because he was in the where they lift the doors, right? Emergency exit. It was emergency exit. So they asked if he was able to assist, and I guess the stewardess did not clearly understand what he said, but he said he's able to do it, and because she was now she's irritated because he didn't respond the way she wanted him to respond. I guess she got mad and she wanted him off the plane. She wanted to either move or get off the plane. So he wasn't listening to him. None of them were listening to him. So they did very wrong in what they did to him. So basically what ended up happening, they had escorted him out, and he goes, I just need you guys to explain to me why I'm capable of doing this, and nope, they said no, you either change seats or we're off the plane. Then after that, then they just wanted him off the plane. And the one thing that Khabib said that really irritated him, the whole thing was a fiasco, but what irritated him the most was the security guard was doing what he was supposed to do, kicking him out, not understanding, not even listening to Khabib about, I just want you to listen to what my reasoning. So he didn't listen to Khabib at all. But at the very end, the security guard wanted a picture with him.
So he knew.
They knew who he was. They knew who he was.
But they are stupid.
They're stupid. They're very stupid. And they deserve what they get. So Khabib he's irritated because you know who I am. So you're treating me like this. So they racial profiled him. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. They racial profiled him.
Yes, exactly.
Because they knew who he was. Why are you picking a celebrity?
They saw the beard. Maybe they saw
they did that. So to me, that was wrong. That was wrong. So Khabib's never been that kind of person that wants to show I'm in a fancy car. This that.
No,
Don't get me
never.
wrong. He has nice things, right? But he doesn't have to have the nicest car. He doesn't have to have the most luxurious anything. He has fine things, okay? And a lot of gifts are given to him that are fine. But again, that's not his mentality. His mentality is when you make good money, support your family. Support your friends, support the people that you love, and that's what he does all the time. You don't know how many times come fights, he flies people down, he puts them in hotels, and he gets tickets for them. He does it to a lot of people that he's really close to. He's done this since I've known him to be able to afford it. So this is the kind of person he is. I don't know anybody else that does that. I don't know anybody, not one person. Not one person that I know does what he does. And he doesn't tell me everything he does because he doesn't want no one to know. And he actually doesn't even like the fact that I even talk about it. And rightfully so, I understand that, you shouldn't talk about the good deeds you do. So I understand that. But for me, I just want to say
Yeah,
what he
yeah.
does.
I mean, he's a role model, and I can see Islam how much he's attached to him as well. Like when he won the belt, Islam, and he gave it to, he said, "This belt is because of this guy," and
Yeah.
it was like that, you know. He
Basically,
respects
yeah,
him
yeah, yeah.
so much,
His
although they
father and
are
him.
friends,
Yeah.
and they're not so far like in age wise. They are very close friends, but the respect that is there is from the father, I guess.
Yes, their father was the greatest man like I've ever met. You know, for sure.
How is your relation with Dana White?
We're not friends. We're definitely not enemies. Thank God. I like Dana a lot. I like what he does. But I can't call him my friend. If I was his friend, I would have his number. I don't have his number.
Yeah.
I used to have his number till Trump got basically elected, and Dana was part of that big train that got him on board to get him elected. Dana changed his number, and I've never had the privilege of getting Dana's number back. So I do not have his number. I respect Dana. He's a man of his word to the majority of what I know about him. He's very generous behind the scenes that people don't understand that he's done. I've been around forever in the MMA. I've been around since 1996, and I've seen Dana come in 2001 and always give fighters, bonuses after bonuses. So in other words, you're in a fight, you throw a good fight, you win the fight, and you get your win bonus, which is, let's say it's 15 and 15. Okay, so you get 30,000. Then next thing you know, a week later, Dana White used to send, I don't know if he's still doing now, but I'm imagining he still does to some people. You get another check from him for another $30,000. And that's what Dana's known to be. Has been known
100%
to do.
generous and
super generous.
And the beautiful thing I saw in him, it was in Corona when he didn't lie off any of his employee. Like he said, we either all in or we're all we're gonna sink together or we're gonna
He
win together.
He saved my gym. He saved my gym. Without him, we would have probably went under. So due to the fact that he risked putting the UFC in Abu Dhabi, and that's what gave me my love for the UAE. That's the start 2019 because of Dana White. So like you said, is he my friend? No, he's not my friend. But I know him. I like him a lot, and I respect him a lot.
That's great. Joe Rogan, because he's very close to my heart, in his podcast and this. How was your relation with him? Do you meet him?
I met Joe a few times. I don't have a relationship with Joe. People have asked me, have you ever done his podcast? I go, no, I've never been asked. Okay. So at one point, I'm writing a book, that I'm doing. So at one point, being on the Joe Rogan podcast would be good for my book. It's more in the mindset of a champion and for everyday life, not just for fighters, for every day, for every person, for the child that is aspiring to be an athlete, or he's aspiring to be a scientist, for the mother that wants to be a better mother, for the father that wants to be a better father. It's the mindset for that my book's about. It's not about fighting. It's related to fighting, but it's related to how do you become a better person in life.
That's great. I mean, can't wait to see that book.
Yeah,
I will need a signature from you
then
on that. Okay, before I forget anything, I think we spoke about everything. Now, just you, what's your plans? Any plans in like opening here or a gym? And you have the AKA, it's in USA. How many branches do you have?
We have a few. We have one in San Diego. I have one in Texas with Bobby Southworth. I have Trevor Prangley, Idaho. There's an AK there. We're working here with Hadi Omar, my one fighter. He's just started one in Al Ain. We're doing an AK there. Working with Ahmed, from Abu Dhabi. They're building a brand new building, 2 buildings, and they're working with Hadi on making it an AKA. That's what he wants. He wants to do an AKA like AK Thailand, which is, if anybody's been to AK Thailand, there's no other better place for Muay Thai in the beautiful location and clean.
Muay Thai, MMA as well?
MMA, AK Thailand, in Phuket, Thailand. So we're working on that. I've spoken to the Dubai Council, Halafan, the sports council here, about coming in and doing an AKA in Dubai, and they're very interested. We're in negotiations. So at one point or another, either I'm going to go with the sports council or I'll do private, but I'm going to do a gym here in Dubai, maybe 1 or 2. I'm not sure, but definitely one for sure is coming. I don't know when. I'm waiting for the sports council to come back to me, and they said sometime in September they'll have a big news coming. Whether news is about, I don't really know, but I'm included in whatever they're doing.
Javier Mendez, the star and champion maker. Thank you so much for coming to my
You're
podcast.
welcome.
It
You're
was a
welcome.
pleasure really having you, and I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.